Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Talk2Rami podcast. This is Rami, your host. I am so excited today because I have an amazing person in my studio, and I got to know her not long ago, like yesterday, and through a mutual friends. And I am lucky because God makes everything happen for a reason. I have Izabela Lundberg here, and she is not only an amazing person, individual, but she's a trusted leadership advisor, leadership subject matter expert, and, strategist, and specializing in the leadership. And also, she's a top 50 most impactful people on LinkedIn. I didn't know that until today. And then her podcast is at Legacy Leaders Show. Elizabeth, welcome to the show, and I'm so happy I have you here.
So great to be here, Rami. Pleasure meeting you, and thank you so much for a beautiful introduction. I really appreciate it. You nailed it, so many things, and literally meeting me yesterday. And how you like Austin so far? I love Austin. I have to say, besides heat and humidity that I'm really having a little bit of struggle with, I love people, and I'm here because of the people in this amazing city, like yourself.
Oh, thank you so much. I know you're from Colorado right now, and
Yes.
Colorado is cold. And in the winter time, but it's got a great, summertime, of course. I've been there a couple of times, but sorry, Austin has been so hot lately. 102, 104, 100, and I'm sure it's going to be cooler. But thank you for being here. I know, you have a tight schedule here, and then we met through a mutual friend, and now you are here. You accept my invitation. I am grateful.
I'm grateful too, and thank you for invitation. And it's beautiful when naturally synergy happens.
Yep.
You can't fake it, right?
Nope.
And as you say, when you show up and when doors open, you just accept invitation, make yourself available, and here we are having great conversation.
And so far that I've been talking to you, I have learned so much from you. You just don't know it.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah,
thank you. Much appreciated.
I am like a sponge right now. I absorb everything from you and learn it because I know it's going to help me out. But tell me a little bit about yourself. I know you are immigrant like me.
Yes.
And tell me where you originally from and how did you get to United States?
Oh, guys, I did not came with the boat, but I did came with the airplane. And I have to say, I did not came illegally. I came legally after a atrocious and treacherous process to prove my status as a refugee. I am originally from former Yugoslavia. I am genocide, torture, and war trauma survivor during the collapse of former Yugoslavia. And one really interesting fact, I was a very young teenager when all of that happened. You were a little bit older when you were encountering the war in Iran, in Iraq. I was actually, instead of going to concert and planning next trip and graduating early from Pedagogic Academy in Sarajevo for K-12 as an educator, as a teacher, I had to literally have to look at in collapsing former Yugoslavia, in Sarajevo, Olympic town, how to save my life in outskirts of Sarajevo, and then also how to escape. My journey was really, really interesting, but why I'm sharing all of this is because at that time, right now, we're doing something with the media. We're using digital footprint to create something positive. At that time, was so much propaganda way before development of World Wide Web as we're seeing today. And ironically, at that time, I knew danger of using your voice or manipulation for misinformation. And today we're using our voices for something for greater good. So it's just so great to be on that other side.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's totally different right now. Like compared with the years that you had mentioned, I went through that as well. Now I can actually feel the freedom of the speech, even though sometimes it's limited but during my time, we didn't have that.
Yes.
And still some people don't have it. And, I don't take it for granted. And, you know that. And it's very important for us to say what we believe and do what we believe. And I'm sure that you experienced that as well. But we are happy. I'm happy I'm here. You're happy you're here. The land of opportunity. The United States of America, our home now.
Yes.
And, and we're proud to be American as well.
Yes, we are. And we just celebrated Memorial Day, for example. And for me, it was really a step back. And I remember sitting with my computer and wanted to release the podcast, but I also wanted to release a little blog. I've wanted to really remind everybody what that means and how many people sacrifice for our safety. And you and I know more than anybody what it means when you lose that in a split second. You know what that means to also be in the limbo for so long, in the war, in the trenches, and also the survival itself and escape, right? So we never take anything for granted, and not just because we experienced the war, now we appreciate it more. But interestingly enough, I can guarantee you that he appreciated that way before because we understood the value of family unit. We understood what it takes also to have that independence, but also we knew what it takes to be under oppressed different types of regimes, that we know that is not necessarily good for anyone. And now we're living in a very different world. And as a result, we are there for all of you to remind you how important it is to be that great positive contributor in your own environment. Like you were here in Austin.
Yep. Yeah. It's just, and that makes us, as I really appreciate that you mentioned that, but that makes us to be more grateful.
Yes.
Like I'm grateful for every moment, every second, every day, and every breath that I take. I'm grateful because sometimes I think it's not going to be, it's not going to be forever.
Yes.
And, we're all going to die, but it's better to be grateful because you and I, we have seen the worst.
Yes.
And sometimes, believe it or not, Izabel, we cannot explain it to people because I don't know, maybe they don't get it because they haven't been in that situation. Like, for example, we had an ice storm here last winter. It was ice storm, snow everywhere. And you experienced that. You grew up in that. And people, they rushed to grocery store buying a bottle of waters, everything, and just the shelves were empty. And I was in the parking lot and I'm watching and I said, oh my God, we were eating bread and cheese for weeks because we didn't have enough supply and we were happy with it. And why? Oh, why? I was just so confused. And it's not people's fault here. Is how the situation works or how they grew up and how we grew up.
And how do we respond to crisis, right? And that's true fear-based crisis, right?
Yep.
When people don't understand this is not going to last forever. This is just unusual occurrences. But because of COVID, because of all these other trends, people start thinking that scarcity mindset. They don't have as much developed the muscle of you and I do, of emotional capacity to contain all these changes. And some of those changes are very uncomfortable. I remember first time when I was in Colorado, we had storm and we had an outage of electricity for 4 or 5 hours, and some areas was like overnight. And I remember people were shocked, like, oh my God, I couldn't shower in the morning. And they were thinking that was end of the world. And they were just like so uncomfortable because they could not do their life by design and routine. And we can understand that. But on the other hand, it's also flexibility. We have to be flexible. And if anything, pandemic taught us, you don't have to be in a war and you don't have to be in the worst of the worst to understand how important it is to be flexible to environment you in and situation that is going on around you. And more you do, as Darwin said, who survives? Not the smartest ones, right?
Yep, that well said.
But the ones that are most resilient to the change.
Yes.
So guys, this is the change agent right here. And more resilient to the change you are, the better you're going to be in every aspect of your life.
You're absolutely right. But let's kind of switch it to my favorite topic, leadership.
Oh, I thought it's going to be soccer. Come on.
What got you to go into the leadership area? And, I read about you. What happened? What interested you that you just because I know you work with the C-levels, you work with a fitness, train, everything is. What makes you tick? And it's tough. It's tough to deal with leaders because sometimes you can't get through them.
It's an excellent question, and I love everything you asked me prior to this. I will be very quick on explaining this. So both of us grew up in an environment before wars when people trusted in community that had a title, that were in positions, were celebrated, were respected, right?
Yep.
And what happened overnight? Everybody in your community choose and hit the different sides. And overnight, your trusted neighbors, your trusted friends, even family members became on opposing sides. And they, just because they had a title, they assumed they're leaders, but they didn't have a leadership skills, and they were using the power and position to make a decision, not only what you and I will do, but also about our future, right? So that's where comes in clash in education, politics, everything else. And then you start really looking painfully aware how much of true leadership, leaders with skill sets and mindset to not only lead and take those steps first, but lead in right direction, not for self-owned design and interest, but interest of the larger community. And honestly, I started looking through that lens when I was in refugee in Sweden, when I was living in 5 different countries before immigrating to US. US is my 6th since I was actually 18 and a half, 19. As a single woman in such a distinct different culture, different languages, all this, frankly, on my own. So when you think about that, how did I assimilate? And how did I not only survive, but how did I thrive in those environments? Not only culturally and linguistically, because I was willing to do my part, but I also continue observing people. And then I start seeing who is making decision if I get a new passport, if I get a permanent residency, if I get status to stay, or I get enrolled in school or not, if I get that job or not. And then I start looking what type of personalities are there. Not necessarily the most powerful by loudest voices, but also more based on truly who is the role model to follow. So fast forwarding, when I came to United States, I started also examining corporate America. And I was like, who can I follow? Who do I feel represents and walks the talk? And I can trust, and I could put my life in their hands.
You're absolutely right. Trust.
And where is that trust? And how is that reciprocated back? Not only that trust, but also after trust, there are the other key elements that needs to be there, a foundation, right?
Yep.
And when you don't have the trust and you don't have openness and you don't have the communication, I realized, and then I started doing analysis, I started using data, I started using technology, and I realized how bigger and bigger void is between skills that needs to have as a foundation for leadership, specifically effective leadership, and the ones that are in position with the title, with the power. And that void, I have to frankly say, it's the biggest in the freaking Grand Canyon. A lot of deeps down and depths and holes. And to fast forward that, I said, okay, I'm going to study, I'm going to entrench myself. And not only I got a master's degree in leadership and organization, and not only I over years developed my behavioralism as a behavioralist to understand different personalities, different types of people, how they tick, how they think, what they're all about, all these different culture, men from different culture, macho cultures, this culture is different types of regimes, and I start really in the patterns. And I have to say, I'm obsessed with leadership because I believe that's foundation to change everything that's going on right now in the world. And it's also a crucial element for you and I to show up and step up and lead the way.
Leadership, I'm so happy you mentioned that, because especially about the trust you just mentioned, I believe if you don't create that safety zone for your people, the people that follow you, the people that respect you, if you don't create that safety zone and don't build it, don't build the right foundation, nothing's going to work, because trust is a big, big part of any leadership. Anybody wants to lead, he's got to earn it. Yes. You have to earn that trust. And Elizabeth is not that easy. I know, been there, done that. And I was a chief operating officer of the company. I was the youngest one, and I could not work for the CEO because he really didn't value his troops. Mm-hmm. And he could not build that trust. And I said, whoa, my God, I can't work under this kind of leadership. I can't, and I had to leave. And I always tell my people that I would be the first to get out and the last to get, it's just, I am always there for my people. And I have to be there. And, because what is a true leadership? You just said that. It's not the title or the rank, right?
Absolutely, it's not.
It's really, and some people, especially right now with the law enforcement.
And it's not as always the popular decision
it's
either.
Not.
It's the right decision. And that's what we really get wrong. And I love what you just mentioned, but I also wanted just to point out, this is leading by example. That's what we need. That's where it's more than ever. And you said even popular things with law enforcement, it's always easy to blame. We're full of blame. We're not taking responsibility. We're not looking, what can we do to step up and lead? Because everybody can lead and should lead, and everybody has capacity. But we have to know what we're leading and who we're leading, where we're headed and why. And it has to be beyond our self-interest. Cannot be just based because I care of this and this only matters. If I only look for myself and not for the rest of the people, then I'm not creating true environment for anybody else to thrive. I can't even survive myself in that environment because it's not built on foundation that can also be sustainable.
I was reading Simon Sinek's book, Leaders Eat Last.
Yes.
It's a phenomenon book. Simon is amazing. But he mentioned something very, very nice that, most of the people, they know, what to do. They know how they do it, but they don't know why. You just mentioned that as well.
And it's so funny. I just posted today something on LinkedIn around the why. When we know why, then we'll know our way. You cannot have your way because you don't know your why. So when people ask me, Izabela, how do you get where you wanted to get? If you don't have a why, I can give you blueprint. I can give you step by step. I can give you coordinates. Still, you're going to get lost because you're going to sooner or later lost your sense where I am going because you don't know why you're going there, why you want that. And we live in a culture when everybody's running off their shiny objects because everybody else is trying to do the same and it's a new hot thing and we should do it. But we don't realize why. Is it because you want a recognition? Because you want to feel influencer and popular? I never thought about being influencer, but I was stunned.
I didn't know what does that mean anyway.
Exactly. But to me, it was like influence is one thing, but impact is completely different. And you don't know how much impact you make till others tell you. You impact me, your actions, your posts, your decisions, your conversations, your guests, your topic, hot stuff, unpopular things, different perspectives. And those are those things that everybody aims and strive for. And that is what we're trying to deliver, right?
And I think most of the leaders, they don't want to pay the price to be a leader. They think everyone else is going to do their job. And it's not going to happen. It's not like that. I'm sure you faced that many times in your trainings, your consulting, that he or she will say, yeah, my people are responsible for this. But what you trying to do? I was talking to a leader. He's got like 300 employees, something like that. And I said, how long is it going to take you to just pick up a phone, one person a day? The whole year is 365 days, okay? Here you go, 300 employees. How long is it going to take you to pick up a phone and call that person in their, number for whatever, extension they have and say, hi, this is the CEO. I just want to tell you, you're doing a great job. This doing anything. I'm here just to let you know. 2 minutes, 1 minute. But they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it.
And the reason I mentioned Sherry earlier, I love what you just said that and why I mentioned in this post, because we had a leadership roundtable conversation. And we talked with these young, amazing leaders. And they even admitted, he said, our company, no matter what's going on, people still don't know why we made these decisions. So how can you follow? How can you bring your best self and your A game and be the best employee and talent and performing when you don't even know where you're headed and they're excluding you, not even from the conversation and decision making, but to tell you why is something happening? Yet they expect you to arrive to destination. You don't even have a clue where you're going. Of course you're going to get lost. So everything you said there, it sure's the perfect example how important it is to start with Simon's golden rule of why, but also truly with our own why. What's in there for me?
Exactly.
Is it bringing me up? Is it sharing the best side of me to the world? Is it being impactful? Is it making difference? Is it necessary? Or is it just more noise and more drama or more conflict or more problems?
You know,
right?
if I don't know what is my why, as you said, how can I lead other people when I'm confused myself? I don't know why I'm in that position. I don't know what I have to do or why I'm doing it. A lot of people, they don't know why they're doing it.
Very true. And where they're headed. And so hard is to bring your team with you.
Yeah.
It's like team will be like, what? Please tell me more. And that is a great opportunity to have a conversations as you and I are having. And sometimes it's okay to say, I'm confused, not sure. I used to, before pandemic, think this way. Now I'm not sure where we headed. That's why a lot of people ask questions. Izabela, from your advisory and strategy, where do you think we should be considering headed right now? Because so many things change all the time. And sometimes you need to have a break and slow down before you speed up and figure it out what that is.
And sometimes you don't, you should understand or you should know that you don't know everything.
Absolutely.
Like I am as a leader, I don't even, I go sometimes to my staff, they are 20, 23, 24, they're young, I'm 54 years old. And I say, can you show me how that works? And they just kind of say, what? I say, yeah, I don't know. Can you, enlighten me? Can you teach me? I want to learn. And they are thrilled, like, they are happy. Why we can't do that? Because we don't know everything. We can learn from one another. Even if you're a leader, you can walk into that room or that office of your employee and say, hey, can you tell me how that works? I'm new, or I'm a new leader, or whatever it is, or how long you've been in that position. Just ask for help, because they are, ego, because they don't want to ask.
It's so true. Everything starts with ego, with our own limitations, to be vulnerable, to show that we don't know everything and we need to ask. Also, it's a fear of failing, because we are taught that as adults we can't fail. We need to supposed to know everything. So a lot of people will fake it till they make it, which is the biggest disaster in my opinion.
That was actually, sorry for interrupting you, because I don't know, you read my mind. I don't know. That's so amazing, because I was actually I swear to God, Izabela, I was going to ask you what you think about these statements, because I've been talking about that for like days now. Fake it until you make it. What do you think about that? I think it's a bullshit statement.
I cannot agree more. And thank you for saying that, because I think it does all of those things which we're trying to fix it, because does not expedite the problem solving, doesn't create vulnerability, doesn't build a team, doesn't create a dialogue, doesn't build a trust, and doesn't build respect ultimately, right? So people know if you're faking it, they know if you're clueless, they know if you're fearful, they can sense all of that. And so many people will not tell you what they're seeing, what they're observing, and as a lot that prolongs of growth. No need to fake it. You're supposed to learn, you're supposed to know, you're supposed to be open, vulnerable, capable. But a lot of people, because they're being indoctrinated, that are solo entrepreneurs or working on their own, that they constantly have to keep kind of that persona in public life, when behind the scene they truly struggle. But if you constantly portraying and you do fake success, you will never get that shield down to understand what the real success is all about, because you're constantly contradictory energetically, emotionally, and also verbally.
Yep.
And it's a game that is constant push and pull and will not get you anywhere.
It will not. And, I during these couple of days that we were discussing fake it until you make it, I change it to, which is my son gave me this, and to, if you fake it, you're not going to make it. Do not fake it, because you're not going to make it.
I love it.
And, and I don't believe that, because, sometimes you can't afford things. And I know people, they go and buy in a car, they can't even afford, Izabela. I swear to God, they can't even afford the car, and they can't even pay the monthly, but they say, oh, I'm going to fake it until I make it. And what is the point? I don't get it.
They're stressing so much somehow. They're positioning it for something that is appealing or looking visually that is real, but it's not. And investment, if you're going to invest in luxury car, rather invest in your business, in your self-development, in a good coach, in a great advisor, or someone who has been there, done that. The other thing is too, asking right person, right question. You don't want to ask marriage counselor or advice for someone who has never been married? Would you? Or someone who never been on the date? About dating advice? Why would you ask someone about a business
Or never been a parent?
never been a parent or never been successful? You have to go and look at who your role models are and why. And what can you learn from them? And surround yourself with that caliber of individuals. And rest is the history.
I love that. I love that. I know you had a long day. I don't want to take your time. But do you have any advice at the end for the new entrepreneurs, new leaders that you're just going to go out and say, I got it. This is my company. I want to lead these people and everything. Do you have any advice for those people?
I absolutely do. Quickly, I just really highly will recommend is to ask questions, ask your team, how is everything going, how they feel about direction, how they're feeling even about you. Survey every single day. When you create environment and culture of sharing, when you create environment and culture of sharing ideas and curiosity, when you create an environment of trust, you're going to receive tremendous respect. People will come up with brilliant ideas that will bring you billions of dollars. You're going to be able to do exponentially so much more. And as a result, not only are you going to be trusted and respected, but you're going to be really recognized as a leader that you don't have to have that push on your own, because people will naturally gravitate towards you and follow you. Be original, be you.
Be you.
You cannot be anybody else. Copying Simon Sinek, copying you, or copying me will not get you there. But asking questions, seeing what is key ingredients and things that you're missing while you're making your success path forward. Or having a mentor. I will highly recommend.
I love
mentorship
that.
Is freaking key.
I still have a mentor.
And yeah, I have multiple mentors. I have an advisory board. I'm surrounded with most brilliant minds. Because every single time, not only validate, am I on the right track, saves me time, saves me risk, but in the same time helps me out because I have now my own cheerleaders. I have people behind me that want me to succeed. And you feel on days when it's the crappiest, most difficult, invincible. You also want to have someone in your corner that's not going to tell you what you want to hear, but will tell you reality.
Honesty, transparency.
Exactly. And those are the things I will highly, highly recommend for all of you. I know it's quite a bit there, but start looking on all of that and you will be amazed how fast you will get where you want to go.
Those are absolutely true. And then where my listeners, they can find you. If they have question or they want to hear your podcast, where my listeners, they can find you.
I love the question, and I'm obviously at LinkedIn at as Izabela Lundberg, Izabela Lundberg, very unusual spelling on Izabela. And then also you can find everything about me also through my podcast, as you mentioned earlier, the Legacy Leader Show.
I love it. I love it. And thank you one more time for being here. And you are amazing, simply amazing. I have learned so much from you, Izabela, and I look forward for our next discussion.
Sounds fantastic. It was an absolute pleasure to be with you, Rami. I love what you're all about, and I can tell you that everybody has a story.
Absolutely.
And I'm just super excited to see where you're going to take this talk with Rami.
Thank you so much. Thank you, dear.
Thank you.